Hey, 5 Minute Church, I'm Pastor John, and this is Frankie. He's our new little puppy. Isn't he cute? The thing about little puppies is like, especially this one, is he has complete ADD. You can't get him to focus on one thing at all. And if you want to take him to the bathroom, he'll be like going out there, and all of a sudden he'll be like, oh, stick or tree or bird or whatever, and oh, there's a leaf, and just when you think he's ready to go potty, then somebody makes a noise over here and he freaks out, and just like he is right now. Funny story, he's doing the potty training thing, doing okay, right, Frankie? But he gets so distracted. So we went and got some green teas at Starbucks one day, and we're holding him, and as we're ordering, he starts peeing all over Starbucks. And that was an interesting thing. I'll take some green tea. But one morning, we're at our friend's house here in San Diego, and one morning, my wife and I are just sitting out here, just trying to have some quiet time and just praying and just trying to get before the Lord and just get refocused. And all of a sudden, we were holding Frankie, and he just started freaking out while we were praying. And so we realized that you can't really pray with a puppy very well. It's impossible. And as we were sitting there, we were really trying to connect with God, and we were really pouring it out. And the more that we did, the more that he had ADD, and the more that he started freaking out. And but the thought hit us, and this is kind of where I'm going here today, is the thought hit us is that we must be like a puppy in God's eyes. And really, I mean, as we live life and we're always just jumping around and from one thing to the next, and God just wants us to sit sometimes and be still, and yet we're over here, and God, we want to be here, and we want to be here, and then take us here and take us here. We get so distracted by our own things and the things of the world, and there's so many things in your life and my life that distract us. And so it was kind of funny. We both started laughing and going, man, that must just how God views us. Just there he is, whining, ready to go. We get so distracted, and yet when we make a mess of life, you know, we expect God to clean up all our crap when life just happens. And it's just like a puppy. We have to just, you know, we're so dependent. He's so dependent on us, and yet a lot of times about his world and you know, about the dog's world instead of our world, and yet that's how God is, and God loves us so much, and yet you look at this little cute thing and you just want to snuggle him and love on him, and that's what God does with us. And so I came to this portion of scripture, just as the thought that I had is in Matthew chapter 10, verse 38. I just want to read that today. Matthew 10, verses 38 says, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister named Mary who sat with the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations they had made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord said, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Last week we talked about Luke chapter 12, and where Jesus was teaching this crowd, and this guy just interrupts, and he had a brother who was ripping him off on the inheritance, and he interrupts Jesus, says, "Hey Jesus, tell my brother to give me my portion of the inheritance." And Jesus says, "Who am I, judge? But you know, check your heart." It's like, and we talked about that. So last week there was like a sibling dispute, and now this week there's also a sibling dispute between sisters. Now, Jesus is going to their home, Mary and Martha's home, and Martha is just freaking out because it's Jesus is coming to their home, and so she's running around like a crazy woman, just like a puppy, just crazy all over the place. As you notice, I had to let the puppy go. And Mary is sitting with Jesus, and it's amazing how she freaks out and she tells Jesus that, hey, my sister needs to help me out. Don't you see this? And it's like, I remember like my boys, Corbin and Cam, and they when they take out the garbage, it's kind of a funny process. They're getting better, but when they first started, I made them take out the garbage. They would both report on how much work the other dude is doing. So, you know, I got the full report after they'd taken the garbage out, who did the most work and who did the little work, and because it must be always fair. And that's how our life is a lot of times, is we always feel like things need to be fair, and especially in the church, it must be fair, it must be fair. And And as you look at this story, it's an amazing story. Jesus is on the guest list to come over to their house, right? So if Jesus was on your guest list, if he was coming over to your house tonight, what would you do? Of course you'd clean the house, right? Check. You would pick up your underwear, check. You would probably prepare a meal or have some food or some drinks ready for Jesus to come over, because it's Jesus. That's what you do when you have people over. You prepare yourself, you know. We have people over all the time, and you have to go to the store and you have to prepare, and you want to clean the house, and you make sure there's toilet paper in the bathroom, and you make sure all these things are ready for them to come over, the company to come over. And this is no different, okay? So Martha is doing basically what she probably should be doing. She's getting ready for Jesus, the Lord, to come. And Martha is getting everything ready, and Mary is freaking out. I mean, Martha's freaking out. Mary is sitting by Jesus' feet when he comes, and she's just hanging out with Jesus. And Martha gets so frustrated. You can see this frustration with her sister, and she also gets kind of frustrated with Jesus. She says, Lord, don't you care? Don't you see what's happening? Don't you see that I'm doing all the work here, and my sister's just hanging out with you? And so often we want Jesus to always see what we see. And that's a problem, because we always want him to see the things that we see are most important to us. And do you think Jesus saw it? Of course he saw it. He knew exactly what was, but however, Jesus responds, very interesting, okay? He doesn't rebuke her and said that what she's doing is wrong, what Martha's doing is wrong. He doesn't say what she's doing is wrong. He says that there's a choice. And Martha chose to prepare and to serve and to get ready. But Mary chose just to sit with Jesus and hang out with Jesus, to be with him. And he says that her choice was a better choice, that Mary's choice was better than what Martha's choice is. Now, he wasn't ripping on the choices, because there's always good choices. They both had good choices, and a lot of times in life we have good choices, right? I just had a choice to make. Friends offered us tickets to the Taylor Swift concert, or we could go to the San Diego Chargers Seattle Seahawks game, and that's a choice that I had to make. And then after I saw Taylor Swift at the VMAs, that was an easy choice to make. We went to the football game, and some of you guys are like, well, that's not even a choice. But I am a musician, so you can rip on me all you want. But those are two good choices, possibly, right? We can either make a choice to sit in church or spend time with Jesus. Those are both two good choices. We could make a choice to go to Sunday school or be on our knees in prayer. Those are two good choices. We could give offerings to the Lord, or we could help our neighbor in some way. Those are two good choices. And we all have choices every day, but we usually try to do what's best in our own minds. But the problem comes when we we think that our choices are always the best, instead of going, God, what do you want me to choose today? And Mary chose right. She chose to hang out with Jesus. She chose to be with him instead of preparing. And in fact, Jesus didn't care. I don't think he would have cared if there was food or not. I think he just wanted to be with them. And oftentimes, we get so caught, and it's possible for even as Christians to get so caught up in doing church instead of being church. And I think that's really the problem in the church today, is that we get caught up like Martha, which is good. It's good to have programs and youth group and all these things. It's good to have all those things. But the better choice is to make sure that we're connecting with Jesus and being the church and doing the things that Jesus was doing. And what was important to him should be important to us. And I think that's a key that we have to look at. Because the reality is life can get frustrating. Distractions come. I mean, I'll be honest with you, as our puppy peed all over Starbucks and I'm having to clean up, it was one of those very, very awkward moments. And as I'm cleaning that up, I'm also in my mind typing the ad on Craigslist, new puppy for sale, cheap, very cute, and I'm kind of going through that, because the reality is sometimes you just want to sell the puppy. But then there's other times when Frankie is snuggled in and when he's all calm and he's not ADD and he's just into you, and he lays there and he's licking on your face and he snuggles in and he falls asleep right here. It's the best feeling in the world. And then you just love that little puppy, and you're like, man, you'd do anything for that little puppy, right? And often I just think about that's so indicative of our relationship with Jesus. And I just wonder how he puts up with all our ADD moments. He puts up with all our what's important to us. And it's those moments when he just wants us to snuggle in on him and just rest in his arms. And he must get so frustrated with us, but yet he allows us those times in our life. And so my challenge today is to stay close to the Master. In the midst of our chaos and our ADD and our distractions, it's time to just be close to God. And so my encouragement to you guys who's watching this is to stay close to God. Spend some time with him right now. Draw yourself into him, and he will draw near to you. And make the choice. The best choice is to always be close to him and sit at his feet. And take time today to listen, to pray, to read, and to draw yourself into him in his arms. Thank you guys. Love you. Take care.